My name is Adriana Blake. I'm 29 years old and I'm a structural engineer. I'm used to pressure, chaos, deadlines that crush 20 people into one. I spend more time on dusty sites than in my own bed. But my house, that was the one thing that made my life feel stable. A place that smelled like quiet after long days, like the life I built for myself. Or so I thought. Because today, my house no longer belongs to me. I had just returned from a 3-week business trip, the kind where you survive on airport coffee and 2 hours of sleep, where your back fuses to plane seats and your inbox grows like a tumor. All I wanted was a shower, my couch, and my own walls around me. But when I turned onto my street, something snapped inside me. A flashing red sold sign was planted in the center of my lawn. My tires screeched. My heart stopped. No, that couldn't be right. Not my house, not the place I poured every paycheck into for years, not the one thing in my life that was mine. I practically stumbled out of the car, my work bag still slung over my shoulder, and ran. My brain was scrambling, clawing for an explanation that didn't exist. Then I heard his voice, Richard, my stepfather. He wasn't startled, he wasn't confused, he wasn't even surprised I was home early. He was packing my belongings into cardboard boxes like this was a casual Tuesday and not the demolition of my life. "Oh, hey kiddo," he said without even looking at me. "You're back earlier than I thought." Kiddo, he always said it like I was a slow child. He barely tolerated. Not a grown woman who bought this house with her own money. "What is going on?" My voice cracked through the hallway like a whip. Richard sealed a box with tape, the sound slicing through the air. "We sold it," he said, sighing dramatically as if I were the one inconveniencing him. My stomach twisted. "We? What do you mean, we?" He finally looked at me with that condescending smirk that has haunted half my adulthood. "Your mother and I, obviously you don't need a big house like this, Adriana. It's ridiculous for someone your age. You should be renting a small apartment, saving money. You'll thank me later. Thank him for selling my home." The edges of my vision blurred with hot rage. "Richard, this is my house. I paid for it with my salary. You had no right." He laughed, actually laughed. "You think you did this alone?" he said, clapping my shoulder like I was a toddler. "It's all family money, shared assets. You don't really own anything." The words hit harder than a slap. Shared assets, family money, anything to diminish what I built. It wasn't even the lie itself that made me shake. It was the way he enjoyed saying it. My hands curled into fists. "Where is Mom?" Richard shrugged, already in Italy. Needed a break. Italy. "So they sold my house and flew to Europe on the money." My mouth dried. "So, you sold my home, took the money, and left me with what?" "For nothing." "Oh, don't be dramatic." He pinched my cheek. "You're young. You'll figure it out." He zipped up his sleek leather suitcase and slung it over his shoulder. "I'd love to stay and chat, but I have a flight to catch. 5-star hotels, private tours, the works, first class all the way." He walked past me like I was air. "I'll bring you back a nice souvenir," he added, chuckling before disappearing out the front door. And just like that, the man who stole everything from me boarded a plane to Europe, sipping champagne at 30,000 FT, thinking he'd won. But the truth was simple. He didn't even understand the war he had just started. I stood in the hollow of my living room for a long time. My furniture was gone. My walls were bare. My life emptied. The silence was violent, like the house was grieving with me. A part of me wanted to scream, until the world cracked open. Another part of me wanted to curl up and break. Instead, I reached for my phone. Mom didn't answer. Not the second time. Not the third. Not the fourth. By the 5th call, I was shaking so badly I had to sit down. I texted, "Mom, call me now." 3 dots appeared, then disappeared, then appeared again. Finally, a message. "I don't want to do this over the phone. We'll talk when I'm back. Talk when she's back." After selling my home out from under me, I hit call again, breath trembling. This time she picked up. "Adriana, I really don't appreciate the tone of your messages." Her voice was calm, flat, detached, like I was being irrational. "You don't appreciate my tone," I laughed, the sound ugly and sharp. "Mom, you sold my house," she sighed. "Sweetheart, Richard and I talked about it, and we really think this is for the best." "For who?" "For you, obviously. A house like that is too much for a girl your age. It's big, expensive, too much to maintain. You're always working. What's the point of keeping a place you barely use?" My vision blurred. I gripped the phone so hard my fingers ached. "Mom, I bought that house. I chose those responsibilities. You're still young," she said patronizingly. "You don't need a huge house right now. Richard found something much more suitable. A modern little condo in the city. Affordable, easy to manage. We can help you get settled when we're back." A condo. They stole my home, and now they wanted to sell me a downgrade like some kind of gift. I studied my breathing and the rest of the money. Silence. "Well, a little went toward our trip," she admitted. "But Adriana, it's family money. We all deserve some happiness, don't we?" That was the moment my heart cracked. Not from the theft, not from the betrayal, but because she truly believed she'd done nothing wrong. The next 2 hours were a blur of documents, signatures, Ein print, and then I found it. My name crossed out, removed from the deed months ago. They waited until I was away on assignment, until I was out of state, until I couldn't fight back. Then they refinanced the mortgage under Richard's name only. Legally, he had every right to sell it. By the time I realized it, the money was already gone. Account statements showed everything. $490,000 deposited. Then a bleeding series of withdrawals, luxury hotels, designer brands, international wire transfers. They burned through nearly $500,000 in 2 weeks. My entire life savings gone. Richard thought I'd crumble. He thought I'd panic. But I wasn't going to scream. I wasn't going to break. I was going to get even. I called 2 people. First, my lawyer Sam, sharp as glass, hates snorts men like Richard. Second, Uncle David, my mother's older brother, Richard's accountant, and the one man who despised him more than I ever could. Richard forgot something very important. The only reason he had the credit to refinance the house in the first place was because of my mother, and there was something about her financial history that she never wanted Richard to know. Let him have Europe. Let him toast his stolen victory, because when he came home, he wouldn't have a single dollar left. And that was the moment everything shifted. Not in Richard's favor, not in my mother's, in mine, because if they wanted to teach me a lesson, they were about to learn one instead. For 2 weeks, the world looked at me and saw a woman walking through the ruins of her life. But inside, something colder, sharper, more precise had awakened. I didn't shout. I didn't collapse. I didn't beg anyone for help. I simply prepared. While Richard and my mother were clinking champagne glasses in Paris, I sat at a small rental apartment with a single lamp glowing in the dark, reviewing documents with my lawyer, and waiting for updates from Uncle David. Every night, the same thoughts circled my mind. He thinks I'm powerless. Good. Let him. Sam called on a Thursday morning. "Adriana," he said in that tone lawyers use when they're about to change someone's life. "I found something." I closed my laptop slowly. "Tell me." "There are 2 sets of refinance documents. One signed by you and another signed by someone pretending to be you." My jaw tightened. He forged my signature. Not just forged, duplicated. Same stroke, same pressure, but wrong alignment. It's sloppy. He didn't expect anyone to examine it. Sam exhaled sharply. "This is mortgage fraud. If we push this, the entire sale becomes illegal." For the first time in days, a breath left my lungs without burning. "He's going to pay for this," I whispered. "You bet he will," Sam replied. The second call came 2 days later. I was sitting with Liam at a cafe when my phone buzzed. Liam had been trying to be supportive, even though I barely had room in my head for anything except legal documents and betrayal. He reached for my hand cautiously. "You're somewhere else again. Did you sleep at all?" I shook my head. "I'm fine. I just need to." Then my phone rang. "Uncle David," I answered immediately. "Adriana," he said, sounding almost gleeful. "Your stepfather is an idiot. What did he do now?" "Everything." Papers rustled loudly. "He has undeclared income, under-the-table cash, offshore transfers, fake deductions. It's a miracle he hasn't been arrested sooner." My pulse quickened. "Is it enough for the IRS?" "It's enough for the FBI if we want it to be," he said. The audit letter should land soon. I closed my eyes. For a moment, the world steadied. Richard stole my house, but I was about to take his entire life. Of course, life wasn't done testing me. That afternoon, as I stepped out of the cafe to get some air, a familiar voice drifted behind me. Well, I heard someone lost her house. I froze. Vanessa, Liam's ex-girlfriend, a woman who lived for drama like it was oxygen. She stepped toward me, arms crossed, smirking like she was tasting victory. Word travels fast, huh? She teased. Must be embarrassing. A big fancy engineer but not responsible enough to keep a house. I didn't rise to the bait. Vanessa, not today, I said quietly. She leaned in. You know, Liam always said you were too proud for your own good. Guess he was right. Behind her, Liam appeared in the doorway, furious. Vanessa, stop. She shrugged, still smiling at me as if she expected to see me break. But I didn't break. I only said, if you think I'm falling apart, you really don't know me. Then I walked away because she was irrelevant. A mosquito buzzing around a demolition site. My real war was with people who carried my blood. When the day of Richard's return finally arrived, the weather itself felt electric. I parked across the street from my old house, my stolen house, and waited. Taxi pulled up. Richard stepped out wearing sunglasses, a designer jacket, dragging a suitcase that probably cost a month of my salary. He typed the door code. It beeped. Red light. He tried again. Beep red again. Beep red. His smirk twitched. He knocked hard. My mother opened the door, pale and frantic. Richard, what did you do? She hissed. What did I do? The code's not working. Her eyes were wild. Our accounts are frozen. Richard, all of them. He blinked. What? And the IRS left a notice. Something about an audit. His phone rang. He answered, went silent, then turned gray. The ground beneath him shifted visibly. I watched from my car, expressionless. This was justice. Not loud, not dramatic, cold, precise, inevitable. He staggered. This is a mistake, it has to be. But it wasn't, not even close. That evening my mother called me. She sounded like a woman watching her life slide. Pee between her fingers. Adriana, do you know what's happening? I took a sip of whiskey before answering. You and Richard stole my house. She inhaled sharply. It was for your future. You're always overwhelmed. You didn't need stop. I said, just stop. You sold the only thing I built for myself, the one thing I loved. Her voice broke. We made a mistake. Yes, you did. And I hung up. At 11:47 p.m., someone knocked at my door. Slow, desperate knocks. I knew who it was before I opened it. Richard, his hair was a mess, his jacket wrinkled, his face hollow. Adriana, he croaked. Please, just a place to stay a night. I don't have anywhere. I stepped into the doorway, arms folded. This isn't your home. I know. Adriana, please. I didn't mean for things to go this far. You stole everything I had, he swallowed. I was trying to help you. By forging my name, by draining $500,000, he flinched. Get off my property, I said quietly. When he didn't move, I shut the door. He started pounding. You selfish brat, I took care of you. You owe me. I dialed 911 for my family. There's a man outside my home threatening me. He ran before the police arrived, and that was the last time I saw him anywhere except headlines. The collapse was faster than I expected. The IRS officially launched the investigation. Sam filed the fraud case. My mother filed for divorce out of pure panic. Accounts were frozen, businesses locked. Every secret Richard thought he'd buried was now on fire. Then Uncle David texted me. He tried to flee the country, got arrested at the airport, passport flagged. I actually laughed, for the first time in weeks. Richard Marshall, the man who thought he owned my life, was now sitting in a holding cell, wondering how everything fell apart. I didn't just win. I reclaimed what was mine. A court settlement, a new home, peace. My mother tried to apologize. She left voicemails, texts, letters. I ignored all of them. She chose him until it stopped benefiting her. And me, for the first time in my life, I owed no one anything. No guilt, no apologies, no lowered voice, no shrinking to fit someone else's version of who I should. Some nights I lie in bed with the window open, listening to the quiet, and I know I sleep soundly because somewhere Richard is wide awake in a cell, staring at nothing, realizing the truth. He stole my house. But in the end, I took his entire life apart because sometimes silence isn't weakness. It's justice wrapped in grace. Silent revenge.